When we passed the American Rescue Plan, the naysayers, the doubters said it wouldn't work. Well, we created over 3 million jobs since I took office. More jobs in the first months of a president's administration than any time in American history. And last week, the Congressional Budget Office doubled their projections of the 2021 economic growth from 3.2% to 7.4%. And the OECD thinks it could be higher. That puts America Rescue Plan and our work is going to move forward to do a lot of things, including we're close to defeating the virus. The last time the economy grew at this rate was in 1984, and Ronald Reagan was telling us it was an American morning. Well, this is going to be an American century. With my American Families Plan and the other elements of the Build Back Better agenda, experts on Wall Street, analysts have said that we'll create millions of good-paying jobs for years and decades to come, not just in the near term. So I'm going to be making the case to the American people until the job is done, until we bring this bipartisan deal home, until we meet the needs of families today and the economy of tomorrow, and we can pay for it. Let me give you a rough example. This isn't, by the way, the plan for infrastructure is paid for. It's paid for. And this plan that I'm talking about, which is really expensive if you add it all up, well, guess what? The fact is that it's paid for as well. And let me tell you how we're going to pay for it. Some of the ways to pay for the rest of it is the last couple of years, for example, 55 of the Fortune 500 companies making billions of dollars did not pay a single penny in taxes, not one single cent. Well, I don't want to punish anybody, but everybody, and I hope someday my grandchildren grow up to be billionaires. That'd be wonderful, especially for a guy who for 36 years was listed as the poorest man in the United States Congress. But having said that, all kidding aside, everybody has to pay their fair share. I'm not trying to gouge anybody. Everybody has to get in the game. If we put in place a minimum 15% tax on the profits of corporations, the ones that didn't pay any tax, that would raise $250 billion, $240 billion. There's a loophole in the system called stepped-up basis. That loophole goes that if I made a capital gains and I was a wealthy person and I was going to cash in my stock and I was going to have to pay a tax, I was going to make, $400,000 and I was going to pay X amount in taxes. If on the way to cash it in, I get hit by a truck, God forbid, and died, and I was left to my daughter, there'd be no tax paid. It's not inheritance tax, it was a tax due 10 seconds earlier. We close that loophole, that saves us $400 billion a year. Not a year, $400 billion over this period.